Let's talk about the generative method. And like I said, we're going to be given some training examples, and we want to predict the labels, okay? I need a little bit of notation because we're going to do a trivial amount of math. This little notation, 4 to 9, means an object is really a 4, but I call it a 9. We're going to talk about the costs or the loss. You're going to see L for loss. You know, what's the cost to me of calling a 4 a 9 or calling a 9 a 4? All right? And one of the things we're going to assume for the rest of today, and it's really not a big deal, you can factor this in or out, we're going to assume the cost of calling an X is 0. Okay? So nobody gets upset if I call a spade, so to speak. So let's consider the two-class binary classification problem. Remember, we just had 4s and 9s. So we have two kinds of losses, all right? So that's what this L means. And L of 4, 9 is the loss of classifying a 4 as a 9. And conversely, L of 9 to 4 is the loss of classifying a 9 as a 4. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Risk is your expected cost. Okay? So if I've got a particular strategy, S, classifier strategy S, we want to talk about what's the expected loss. All right? And for our 4 and 9 example, the risk of our strategy is what's the probability that I'll call a 4 a 9? How often is that going to happen? Okay? Using this particular strategy, and I multiply that by whatever the loss is, the cost of calling a 4 a 9. And what's the probability of calling a 9 a 4? And what's the loss when I call a 9 a 4? All right? And that's the risk. And the probability is, you know, 15% of the time that I'm running this thing, 15% of the times a 4 is going to come up and I'm going to call it a 9. Okay? That's what probability of calling a 4 or 9 means. So this total quantity, that's what's referred to as your risk. And remember, what we want to do is we want to minimize the expected risk.